They're members of my group, which is from Manchester, and they are extremely gutted on the scenario that they're being used as chess pieces in this political game.
Efforts to get the four men back on the convoy had eventually failed.
The Egyptian authorities haven't really given us any particular reason on why they have been sent home, just that they feel like it. As far as we know, they just feel like it. There's no reason. It's not that they're on any political blacklist or they've been up to any activities.
Angry but determined not to allow the setback to divide them, the volunteer drivers decided to push forward, with only a few 100 kilometers left to the final crossing at Rafah.
Gaza! Gaza! Ooh, ooh, Gaza! Gaza! Ooh, ooh.
The convoy operation was now more than triple its original size, with the addition of the Libyan trucks and a massive Egyptian security presence. And progress was slow.
They escorted the convoy sometimes at breakneck speed through towns and villages, and other times at agonizingly slow paces, maybe 10-15 kilometers an hour we'd be traveling.
I would say per person we must have had at least 7-8 national security officers plus stroke army.
I don't know if it was designed to intimidate or this is what the reality is of a police state, but it was certainly not a welcoming experience.
And while all of this was going on, another diplomatic crisis was brewing behind the scenes, as Egypt came under Israeli pressure to divert the convoy through an Israeli border control to reach Gaza, rather than take the direct route through the Rafah crossing.
Egypt's peace agreement with Israel and its relationship to the United States means that its room for manoeuvre is heavily circumscribed. And somehow we had to steer our way through these two things.
There was growing anxiety about the road ahead. Many organizations and governments had failed to get their aid to Gaza through Rafah in the past.
The backlog of aid, much of which has now gone off and is spoiled, stretches all the way back to Al Arish and a mountain as big as Everest in the sports stadium there. So I've no doubt that Israel was pressuring Egypt, but so equally were their own people and the feelings of the great people of Egypt that this was an unseemly role for Egypt to play gatekeeper for the Israeli occupation.
It was with mixed feelings then that the convoy finally set down inside a compound in the town of Al Arish, tantalizingly close to the Rafah crossing, on the eve of their planned arrival in Gaza. Just 40 kilometers from here is the Rafah border crossing, the final hurdle in the face of the British and Libyan Viva Palestina aid convoy. It was the day they'd all been waiting for. If all went to plan, the British and Libyan convoy would be crossing into the Gaza Strip in just a few hours. The atmosphere was electric.
I'm very excited. As soon as we cross the border into Egypt, my level of excitement it's out of control. I'm very, very excited. I can almost taste it. We're almost there.
The energy and anxiety here right now before we cross the border is unbelievable. I can't really describe it.
But that excitement turned into frustration when the police and convoy organisers couldn't come to an agreement on how to proceed. The Egyptian police wanted to break up the vehicles into small groups for the final stretch to the border. But the convoy volunteers, who'd by now learned to distrust the authorities, felt it may have been a ploy to dismantle the initiative altogether.
Well, they're saying now they're going to take us in 5s and 10s. You know, we left Britain as a convoy, and we're going to all stick together, we're going to all unite on this time.
All of us together, we're not moving from here, no 5 vehicles at a time.
In the meantime, George Galloway had raced ahead to oversee the Rafah crossing.
Well, the Egyptian government was trying to hurry me over the border into Rafah. The Palestinian side, not knowing exactly what was happening on the other side, were keen for me to go through. But I made it clear that I'd come all this way with a convoy and I wasn't walking through on foot without it. The convoy, meanwhile, was parked up in a rather sordid car park in Al Arish, having some difficulties with the Egyptian police.
The situation in Al Arish had developed into a standoff. Neither side was willing to compromise.
You're not letting us through. You're not letting us go.
And as patience ran out, some convoy members took their fate into their own hands and removed the police barricades blocking their vehicles. Chaos ensued as the police tried to regain control, while the convoy drivers forced their way out and attempted to make it to Rafah. Hundreds of riot police who'd been accompanying the convoy since it entered Egypt were sent in, and the bid for freedom turned into a bloody street battle.
The police moved in, they were repelled, and then the riot squad moved in.
They want to get in. They ain't getting in, bro.
Blows were exchanged as people tried to defend themselves against this brutal reaction by the Egyptian authorities.
Meanwhile, Press TV had been trying to transmit the images, but found its outside broadcast vehicle, which was embedded with the convoy, had been sabotaged so that it could no longer send out footage. And the vehicles that had managed to escape during the clashes didn't get very far. The Egyptian police held them at roadblocks not far from the compound, and some drivers say they were beaten and had their keys snatched.
We got the key. Look, sit down, sit down. Alhamdulillah, we got the keys back. We got the camera back. Now everybody go to their vehicles. Get into your vehicles.
As convoy leaders tried to bring order to anarchy, the police moved more large barricades into place and again blocked the vehicles in the compound.
It's just a typical Sunday morning of birds flying, sun up high, all enjoying ourselves. You know, we got our deck chairs out, you know, a few drinks, and yeah, it's been fine. Nothing much other than that. Just go through YouTube in a couple of days, and I'm sure you'll see exactly what happened there.
Tensions had eventually calmed, and there was even a chance for football, although the offer of a match in which Viva Palestina took on the Egyptian police was declined by the authorities. The Egyptians had unwittingly strengthened the resolve of the convoy.
They managed to unite the whole convoy, and the team spirit that we had so desperately sought during each leg of the convoy suddenly emerged in Al Arish, and everybody became as one.
But it was when darkness fell that evening that things started to get really disturbing. A group of unidentified men vandalized some of the Viva Palestina vans. When the convoy volunteers tried to confront them, they were attacked with bricks and stones. This was accompanied by a power cut, which disabled all street lighting in the area.
They outnumbered us. That's when obviously I ran up and I came and said, look, we are under attack here. By the time we got back there, obviously we overpowered them. We managed to move them out. And then as reinforcements on their side were coming, the police were stood there and they were coming from around the police, and the police did nothing.
They were coming running from behind the police, and the police knew that they were coming. The police exactly knew who they were, and they went into that flat over there, just behind the police. We told the police officer, look, one of our guys has just been attacked. Yeah, his head's cut open, call an ambulance.
They did nothing.
Not my job.
The attacks resulted in a number of convoy members being hospitalized. By now, many suspected the Egyptian authorities were involved, but police in the area refused to comment, other than insist that their extremely heavy presence remained for the convoy's own security, a statement that was derided by those blocked in.
I, for one, and I think you'll be with me on this, we no longer have any confidence in the security forces here to protect us. I don't know who has been writing on our vehicles. I don't know who attacked us. They are claiming to be acting in the name of a small group within Fatah that had problems with Hamas in Gaza last year. But in this part of the world, everything is not always what it seems. But the only thing that matters to me now is the safety of our people, and the safety of our vehicles and what's in them. So we are now in a situation where we are blocked from leaving here. The police are everywhere, hundreds of police, but they haven't been able to stop one vehicle being damaged and one person being injured.
It was to be a long night, clouded with confusion and fear, with convoy members now taking turns to stand guard in case of any further attacks.
They're using us against us.